Welcome to the Faster, Easier, Better show with your hosts LeeSilber and Ellen Goodwin. This podcast is short, fun, and jam-packed with good ideas that you can start using right away. And here's your hosts, Lee and Ellen.
Welcome to the Faster, Easier, Better show. I'm your host, Ellen Goodwin, along with my co-host,
LeeSilber.
Yay! Hey, Lee, what are you going to talk about today?
Generations.
Generations lost in time?
Sure. I mean, there's, you got the Gen Xers, you got the baby boomers, you got the millennials, and you got the greatest generation of all.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not our generation, but...
It is mine.
Oh, it is yours. I didn't.
Now y'all know I'm
realize.
old.
Wow. Huh.
I'm on the cusp.
You don't look a day over 29.
I know.
But I think it's interesting to think how, well, times have changed. I mean,
Absolutely.
That's like a duh. But with that has come how people view efficiency, how they are efficient, and each generation kind of has their own style.
That's true.
And some of it is based on, for instance, let's take the millennials. I mean, they grew up on play dates. Let's have a play date. So when they need to come up with an idea, they're going to get together as a group.
Right. They don't do it on their own.
And then the Gen Xers, they were the latchkey kids. They were sent home to do your homework and watch Ronald Reagan. But, they were on their own. So
and they figured how to MacGyver things.
Yeah, and when they need an idea, they go home, they think of it, and then they bring it back to work and share it, right?
Right.
And then
two totally different styles.
Yeah, and then you got the baby boomers who are more... it was called the me generation.
Right.
But they really were old school in the sense that, they kind of looked at what worked before and then just kind of modified it
Iterated
a little bit.
on it.
And that's fine too. And the greatest generation of all, they really were the MacGyvers of all MacGyvers. Because a lot of them came up either raised by or were part of the Great Depression. And so they were very much, how can we repurpose this? How can we get more out of less? And so you got all those different styles.
It's a pretty big spectrum right there.
Yeah. And I think that when you know what your strength is and what you're using your talents, abilities, skills, natural tendencies to your advantage. And sometimes that's based on how you were raised.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's where I wanted to talk about, just the different generations. And I think when you think of millennials, they get a bad rap, that they're lazy and they're not, I don't know, just so many things. I don't even want to go there.
Yeah, I get that.
When we make fun of them, they say, well, they get hired, and then 2 days later, am I promoted? Am I the president yet? Did I get a raise? But I like that. They want more.
They want more. They don't see it as the structure that we all were brought up with. And there, like you just said, there's good things and there's bad things to that. So,
yeah. But like the 4-minute mile. Everyone said it's impossible till somebody did it. Mm-hmm. So millennials are breaking down barriers that, can I do 3 things at once? That's how they did their homework. They would.
Right.
I'm not a big. I mean, we both of us are not saying
multitasking.
that, but it is something that you're seeing that they can do it. Whereas somebody maybe from the greatest generation is one thing at a time. Now both are good.
Right.
And maybe one's even a little better, but it is how you were raised and how you work. And if you can do 3 things efficiently at once and get them all done. I mean, I wouldn't put it with my important things, but just the things that just whatever. I just need to get this done.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And you've got, the millennials, they're digital natives. They've never known a world without screens. I heard my neighbor's 5-year-old today going, I got sidetracked because my iPad, and I quit listening right there. I'm like, what?
But that's something where if the millennials could look back to the greatest generation or the baby boomers at how important focus is.
Oh, yeah.
And then those older folks could look and see how, technology can be a tool to help you to get things done faster, better, and easier. So we learn from each generation. And I will say, when we looked at the millennials and say, well, what is it that drives them? You watch commercials for cars, and it used to be the Subaru was the car that was safe to drive and it was reliable. Now the commercials are for millennials, and it's about how much fun you can have, the adventures you can have, the places you can go. So they're more about experiences versus generations past were more about things.
Right. Now it's more, exactly. That's experience.
The generation that I'm from, I guess, Gen X, partly, I'm right on the cusp, but baby boomers, it's like, what have you done? What do you have? Right? Meaning like, it's more of like, status symbols. Whereas Gen X is, where have you been?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And
Right.
so I love that. I love that.
Right. And I think that especially like millennials and they equate being busy and getting all these things done with living a good life. It is that, oh, I'm so busy because they grew up with that play dates. They grew up with you're going to this next, you're going to this next. Oh,
Mm.
that's great. And then here they are. That's what they keep doing. And I think that kind of ties into, studies have shown, especially millennials and the upcoming generation, most of them have side hustles. They're working on something, maybe they're driving for Uber or Lyft, or they're doing something on Etsy. They're doing something, they've got something else on the side, which actually helps them to be more efficient because, you're doing a 9 to 5 job and then you come home and you do Etsy, but then you still want to go out and play. So you want to get your stuff done right away. So, I mean, that's a great thing if you're being efficient with your time because you got so much going on.
Well, what is it? A body in motion
Stays in motion.
Yeah, and I think, inaction leads to more inaction, whereas action leads to more action. So yeah, if you can handle all that and you're able to do all these things, I think it forces you to be efficient because you're trying to fit everything in, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. Now, one thing I read when I was doing some research on this topic was that the younger generation are more okay with failing. And I thought that was a really odd thing, but it talked about being raised on video games and you fail and it's okay because you get to do it again so that you fail and you learn failing forward. And I thought that was a really interesting thought process on that because I'm like, yeah, because once you learn that it's okay to fail as long as you learn from that failure, apply that to your life. Yeah.
Then I'm a master.
At failure?
I know that I read this that watch sales are down almost 80%. And I think that's one thing that the millennials are not as conscious of time. They have their phone, but they don't wear watches. I don't know if you ever had your watch repaired or taken it off, and you realize how often
you turn your arm to
and
look.
you look at it. So, I mean, I think that, if you're just, living like it's Vegas, there's no clocks,
right?
And you're just having a great time, but you're not getting the important things done because you're not aware of time. I think that's one thing I would recommend, that, a watch is, it could be a digital watch, but something that reminds you about time.
This episode.
Which is I was just gonna say, which is a good segue into the goodbye part.
The goodbye part. I was going to say this episode brought to you by Timex. No. So generations, we're all different. Doesn't make it bad. Doesn't make it worse. Just look at how you do things. So that's our episode for the Faster, Easier, Better show. Join us again next week for a new episode.